All right, let's dive right into this explainer and track down the invisible thief that's literally robbing your solar panels on the absolute brightest days of the year. We're dealing with thermal dynamics today. It's a fascinating, often misunderstood subject that completely flips how we evaluate solar energy, moving us from just blindly chasing sunlight to actively managing heat. If you've ever wondered why your peak summer power doesn't quite match your expectations, well, you are in the exact right place.
So, we're skipping the pleasantries today to confront a massive mystery right up front. Think about it. What if your solar setup is working perfectly, exactly as engineered, but heat is silently stealing up to a third of your power? I mean, it's high noon, there is zero clouds in the sky, the sun is just blasting, and yet your power output is tanking. Why does your power drop at midday under those perfect conditions? Let's figure it out.
Section 1. The Silent Power Thief.
To solve this midday mystery, we really have to stop looking at solar panels as just, simple light-catching rectangles. We need to start seeing them as dynamic thermal systems. There's this huge sensory mismatch that happens out in the field. Your eyes see bright, constant, blinding sunlight, so you naturally assume you're getting maximum power. But your system, it's actually experiencing a severely reduced electrical potential. And why is that? It's because solar panels are fundamentally semiconductor devices. And semiconductors, well, they have a very complicated, highly reactive relationship with heat.
Now think about this number, 15 to 30 degrees Celsius. That right there is the critical, completely invisible gap between the ambient air temperature you feel on your skin and the actual physical temperature of the solar cells themselves. Those dark glass surfaces out on your roof, they act like giant thermal sponges. So under full sun exposure, the air temperature and the panel temperature are absolutely not the same thing, not even close.
So here's the really crucial takeaway. A pleasant 30 degrees Celsius weather report, a perfect summer day, right, can easily mean your panel cells are up there literally baking at 55 to 70 degrees. Relying purely on the ambient air temperature completely hides the fact that your panels are just sweltering. And this creates a massive power derating, even if the sunlight itself seems incredibly strong and perfectly clear.
Section 2. The Live Thermal Test. Okay, let's bring out our metaphorical magnifying glass to observe this crime happening in real time. Imagine matching a thermal camera right up against a watt meter on the exact same panel under the exact same sun. As we start with a nice, cool, unshaded panel and introduce thermal loading over time, you can actually watch the heat soak in step by step. First, the heat builds up directly on the surface. Then, poor airflow behind the module acts just like a heavy blanket, trapping all that heat. And all the while, continuous sun exposure just keeps relentlessly pounding the panel with energy. If we look at the thermal mapping, you'll see the panel absolutely does not heat evenly. It's fascinating. The center cells heat up so much faster because they're trapped right in the middle of all that thermal mass. Meanwhile, the edge cells manage to cool off a bit quicker just thanks to basic wind convection. But then there's the junction box. That little component becomes a very distinct hotspot, retaining heat significantly longer than everything around it. And this thermal bottleneck? It can cause some severe resistive losses across the entire unit.
Now what's really wild is how the watt meter reacts to this thermal ramp. As the temperature rises, the voltage drops significantly, and this voltage drop completely overwhelms the very, very slight increase in current that happens at the same time. The ultimate result? A major net power loss. We are tracking a simultaneous wattage decline under perfectly stable, unblinking sunlight. The light energy is totally there, but the heat is literally destroying the panel's ability to harvest it. Crazy, right?
Section 3. The Semiconductor Science. So, this dropping power isn't a wiring fault, it's not an inverter clipping issue, it is pure forensic science right down at the semiconductor level. Because semiconductors react so strongly to heat, thanks to their band gap behavior, engineers actually use a strict metric to measure it. It's called the temperature coefficient. This is the exact rate at which power output drops for every single degree Celsius the panel heats up above idealized standard test conditions. And get this, those standard conditions are rigidly set at a very cool, laboratory-perfect 25 degrees. Let's break down how this builds the core engineering formula for thermal derating. The key player here is the gamma variable. That's the temperature coefficient of power. It basically dictates that every single degree above that 25-degree reference point mathematically subtracts from your panel's rated power. So as the actual solar cell temperature goes up, the coefficient forces the voltage down. It's relentless, unavoidable math. A panel rated for 400 watts is truly only 400 watts at 25 degrees. By the time it hits 65 degrees, gamma is taking a massive calculated cut of your hard-earned energy.
Section 4. System risks and degradation.
But listen, this investigation isn't just about losing a little efficiency on a sunny afternoon. We really need to talk about what happens when this heat escalates into actual physical danger. Extreme temperatures actively accelerate long-term degradation. They silently cause compounding physical failures right inside the panel itself. We're talking about the chemical breakdown of the EVA encapsulant, the formation of localized hotspots that can literally burn through the backsheets, solder joint fatigue from endless cycles of thermal expansion, and dangerous resistance at the interconnect rivets. Make no mistake, over time, unmitigated heat destroys hardware.
So, to protect your investment from these localized failure zones, specific installation practices are absolutely non-negotiable. First off, you have to ensure adequate rear panel airflow to combat that backsheet heat buildup. Flush roof installs without proper gaps, they will easily trap killer heat. Second, always maintain proper mounting clearance. Third, correctly size your cables. Undersized wiring exponentially increases resistive heating under high-temperature loads. And finally, meticulously secure your MC4 connections to prevent dangerous thermal arcing. Proper airflow and proper sizing, those are your absolute best defenses.
Section 5. Rethinking solar output. All right, let's bring all this forensic evidence together and completely shift how we approach solar installations. Consider this fundamental takeaway, because it totally redefines the problem. Heat does not slow solar panels. Heat changes the electrical identity of the panel itself. I'll say that again. Heat changes the electrical identity of the panel. Once you truly grasp that concept, you stop treating solar output as just a fixed, reliable number printed on a spec sheet. Instead, you start treating it as the dynamic, highly reactive thermal system it actually is.
Which brings us to our final takeaway. The next time your system drops power at midday, are you just going to check your inverter, or will you investigate your panel temperatures first? Keep in mind, electrical work is inherently dangerous, so absolutely always consult a qualified professional. But keep this vital question at the front of your mind as you rethink your system. We have to start thinking like engineers, measuring performance not just by sunlight, but by temperature and irradiance together. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Stay curious, and I'll catch you on the next one.